Hi, my name's Nick. I'm VP of Hardware and R&D at Fellow. I'm the person responsible for Ode and the designer of the Ode Gen 2 Brew Burrs. Today we're here to show you how to install them. We're gonna need paper towels, medium grit sandpaper, an air duster or a small vacuum, the Fellow cleaning brush, needle nose pliers, a small and a large Phillips head screwdriver, and the Ode Gen 2 Brew Burrs. Make sure that your grinder is unplugged. Never work on your grinder with it plugged in. The second step is to remove the catch bin lid and put that to the side. Step 3, we're going to take the dial and we're going to turn it all the way to 11. And then step 4, we're going to remove the front faceplate. Next, we're going to take a large Phillips head screwdriver and we're going to remove these 4 main screws to remove the front dial. Set that aside. What you're probably expecting is that when you push this auger in, it comes straight out, and you'll notice that if you've owned your Ode for a while, it won't. So this is the reason why we're shooting this video. I want to show you how to take out this auger with pliers so that you can install the new Gen 2 Burrs. You can see that the auger key popped out. We just want to remove the auger key. We can put that to the side. And now we want to take our needle nose pliers, and what we want to do is we want to grab inside of the top of where the auger key sits and the outside of the auger itself, and we're just going to give even pressure and pull the auger out. So just to give a little bit of explanation about why the auger gets stuck in some Odes, is that as the motor transmits torque through the auger key into the auger itself, the small edges of the motor shaft can get dinged and dented, which kind of prevents you from having a clean pull of the auger coming off. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take a small piece of medium grit sandpaper, and what we're going to do is we're going to sand down those sharp edges, those small dings and dents, to make sure that your auger can slide in easy again. I'll say that it's okay if you need to put a little bit of force to get the auger out, but please do not force it back in. If you can get the auger out, I promise you that this step will help you get the auger back in. So we're going to take a small piece of medium grit sandpaper and we're going to sand down the edges of that motor shaft. Once you give it a little bit of sanding, we're going to take a clean paper towel or a clean towel. And what we want to do is we want to remove any debris that you sanded off to make sure that the auger can slide back in easy. So now that we got the auger out, we sanded down those sharp edges of the motor shaft, we want to do a test fit with the auger. So we want to line up the actual key slot with the slot in the motor and see if the auger slides back in easy or not. And this auger slides back in nice and easy, which lets you know that you remove those little burrs on the motor shaft and you're good to go for the next portion of the install. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to do a thorough cleaning of the grinder. We want to make sure that we remove all of the coffee grounds from both inside the chamber and the auger itself. So we can do this with our Fellow cleaning brush to start. We want to remove the grounds from inside the chamber as well as off the burr on the auger. And now we're going to use our large Phillips head screwdriver to start removing the screws from the auger burr. And pull the burr off the auger itself. We also want to use the Fellow cleaning brush to remove any coffee grounds that are stuck on the auger itself. So next we're going to repeat the same process just for the chamber burr. So we're also going to remove the catch cup because we're going to flip the grinder on its back. And we're going to flip the grinder up just like that. So from here we're going to take our Fellow cleaning brush and again just really try and clean out any of the grounds that are sitting on the burr. And we can go ahead and take our large Phillips head screwdriver and remove the 3 screws that are holding the static burr in. So the next step, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my needle nose pliers and I'm going to remove the screws with my needle nose pliers to make sure they don't fall into the actual chamber itself. And now to remove the original stock burr, what I like to do is I like to reach in and I like to kind of break it free. So please be careful because the burr is sharp, but if you grab it and you kind of work it loose, you start to rotate it, then you can kind of reach down and pull it directly parallel up. You might have to wiggle a little bit, but I promise you that if you're patient, this will come right out. And the burr is out. So we could put this to the side. Next, you can see that there's a lot of coffee grounds stuck in there, so that's why we need our fellow cleaning brush again. You really want to brush as much out as you can, and this is the part where having a small air duster or a small vacuum really comes in handy. So if we take our small air duster and blow it all out, our chamber will be free and clear to install our Ode Gen 2 Brew Burrs. So now is when we want to start actually installing the good stuff. So open your box of Ode Gen 2 Brew Burrs, and these burrs that I designed are exactly the same. So the burr that goes in the chamber is exactly the same as the burr that goes on the auger, so you cannot mess it up. What I like to do is hold it parallel and drop it down into the chamber, aligning all of the holes. And it should sit flush. So from here, we're gonna go back and get our screws that we took out and just put them back in one by one. I like to leave them a little bit loose until the end, and I'll show you why. So now that all three screws in are a little bit loose, I just wanna kind of center the burr as best I can, and then we can do a final tightening. Okay. So now everything on the actual Ode chamber side is done, and it's time to move on to the auger. So we have our auger. Make sure again that it's nice and clean. And we're gonna get our second Ode Gen 2 Brew Burr, which is again the same exact as the one inside. And we go ahead and put the Ode Gen 2 Brew Burr right on that surface, and then we can align the holes. And from here, what we can do is just put the screws back in. So before you do your final tightening, you want to kind of grab the burr and make sure that there has an even sort of, an even fit around the entire back of the auger to make sure it's rotationally aligned. And then you can do your final tightening. And once these screws are in, nice and tight, we can go ahead and actually drop the auger back into the grind chamber. And what we want to make sure is that the actual spring, the auger spring, is still inside. Align the actual line of the motor shaft with the line of the auger, and we can just drop it right back in. And to make sure we're all good, we just want to do a couple of presses, and the auger should bounce free and clear inside the chamber. And then we can go ahead and re-put back in the auger key. From here, what we're going to do is we're going to take our dial faceplate that we removed earlier, and we're going to drop it right back on. Again, staying at 11. And from here, the next step is to actually take off this dial to calibrate your new burrs. So we're going to switch from the large Phillips head screwdriver to the smaller Phillips head screwdriver. And we're going to remove the 4 small screws on the outside of the faceplate. And this front dial should come straight off. Now from here, we're going to turn our Ode upright again. And this is where we're going to have to plug it in to calibrate. And we're going to turn Ode on, and we're going to turn the dial counterclockwise until we hear burr touch. Hear that? That's the outer edges of the burrs touching. You're not going to damage your burrs by doing this. So once you hear it touch, we want to go 1 click clockwise. 1 click clockwise, and we can turn the grinder off. From here, we're gonna unplug the grinder again. We're gonna put the grinder on its back again. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the actual front dial and rotate it all the way back to 1, all the way to the end, and drop it right back on the front. From here, we're gonna take our screwdriver with the small Phillips again, and we're just gonna tighten those 4 screws that we loosened. So once we put those screws back in, we just wanna make sure that the knob can spin free and clear, so give it a turn clockwise, give it a turn counterclockwise. And from here, as long as that's nice and clean and ready to go, we're gonna snap the front faceplate back on. So if you were able to complete all those steps successfully, your Ode Gen 2 Brew Burrs are installed, calibrated, and ready to go. I wanna say that there might be an experience that you have where you need to use a little bit more force to pull the auger out of the grinder, and you might need to do a little bit more sanding. I wanna let everyone know that that is okay. Depending on the age of your ode and the style of beans that you like to grind, it can be either easier or harder to get the auger out. It will not void your warranty. If you have trouble, please reach out to us. We are here to help you. hello@fellowproducts.com, and one of our customer service agents will be happy to work with you to resolve your issue. So finally, we just want to do a quick grind test. So let's plug our grinder back in. Our grinder is set to 1, the finest, because I know everyone is really excited about how fine these new burrs can grind. Put your catch cup back in. Let's grind. Look at that. Thanks for watching and happy brewing.